a fella has offered me a lot of money for. He offered me $3 million, and I don't know whether he was joking or serious, but
Yeah.
it's just not for sale. Because he offered me $5 million for it.
$5 million for this.
And I said, no
Wow.
way. I can't go drive around a stack of dollar bills. I like to drive these cars, and every car in here gets driven about once every week to 2 weeks.
Today, we're about to step into the largest Shelby Cobra collection in the world. And trust me, it's absolutely insane. Let's go check it out.
Was that the secret knock that somebody knows what's in here?
That's right. How you doing, Lynn? Good to see you again.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
We're excited today to check out some Shelby Cobras. I heard you have a few.
The rumor is that there's a few in here, so come on in and see for yourself.
All right, Lynn, so what do you have here for us? I mean, this is amazing.
It's a lifetime collection of Cobra stuff. I mean,
Wow.
I got interested in Cobras in 1962. I was 19 years old, and they have been my passion since that very moment. What you see is just a collection of everything that I've been interested in. I don't have Porsche stuff. I don't have Ferrari stuff. It's just Cobras.
Wow. One of the pictures I'm really curious about, Lynn, is this one right here. So you assembled all of these Cobras together?
Well, because I've been involved with them so long, I organized a Cobra Day at the Peterson Museum.
Wow.
Not every year, but almost every year from about 95 up till 2003 or something. And it took a lot of phone calls and a lot of pulling in favors to get people to come. At first we had I think 60 Cobras, and then we get going, and finally at this one we had 118 original Cobras on the roof of the Peterson Museum, and took a picture. And it's not as easy as you might think to get that many Cobras to arrive at one spot for an hour-long picture. And that's what we wanted it for, is to take the picture.
Incredible. Well, that's the pull, I guess, Mr. Cobra, AKA Lynn Park, has. I mean, I gotta ask you about this picture right here. So this is a picture with you and Carroll Shelby, is that right?
That was taken at the only vintage race we've had in downtown Los Angeles. Raced around Olvera Street and City Hall. They tried it, they only did it one time.
Wow.
But Carroll Shelby was there, and that's a picture of my car with him sitting in it. But he and I were very good friends. He kept his own Daytona coupe here for many years. And whenever he needed anything to do with a Cobra, he called me and knew I would go do it for him. If he had a car he wanted to get out to Willow Springs Raceway for pictures or for a magazine article, he'd call me and I'd take it out there for him.
Wow.
And he counted on me to do that stuff. And it was, talking about a labor of love, that was it. I just did whatever he needed, and it was fun for him and me.
I gotta ask you one question though. Was he in Ford versus Ferrari, was that a good portrayal of Carroll Shelby?
Not really, because
Okay.
it had certain aspects maybe was good for him.
Yeah.
But he and Ken Miles would never get into a fist fight.
Okay, so that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Who are these pictures of, Lynn?
Well, most of them are Cobra race car drivers of some level of being famous, more than others. Dick Smith was an amateur racer.
Okay.
And Lou Spencer and Dave McDonald, of course, was the fellow that was killed at Indy driving an Indy car, but he drove Cobras for Shelby. And there's Ken Miles, Bob Bondurant.
Oh, this is Ken Miles from Ford vs. Ferrari.
There's Ken Miles.
Wow.
Almost looks like Christian Bale, doesn't he?
He actually does it in a way, yeah.
There's Parnelli Jones and Dan Gurney and Shelby and Dave McDonald. These are all Cobra drivers that again, were famous at one level or another.
That's amazing.
People who ask me who this one is.
Yeah, who is that?
That's Shelby's first bookkeeper.
Okay. Well, are we able to kind of check out some of the cars today, Lynn?
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Can I go first? I'm so excited to check this out. Wow. Oh my gosh. So, Lynn, what models are these? And how rare are some of these Shelby Cobras?
Well, every Cobra is rare to a certain extent. They only build 1,000 of them.
Right.
But this is a good example. This is an early race car. It's the 10th Cobra built. When I got it in 1971 or about then, I always wanted a Daytona coupe.
Right.
But couldn't afford one. So this is our Daytona Roadster. If you look at the side pipes, they're carved in like a Daytona coupe would be, and it's got the little scoops on the fenders. So we call that car our Daytona Roadster.
Wow.
And I've had that car for 55 years, and it was the first car to win the Best Ford Award at the Monterey Historic Races. It's been invited to be seen at Pebble Beach. It's just a good old race car.
Wow, wow. You said this is the 10th one ever built?
Yes, the 10th Cobra built, serial number 2010.
Unbelievable. What would be like the value of something like this car?
The funny thing is the Cobra started off at roughly $6,000.
Right.
And today, a set of original Cobra wheels is worth more than $6,000.
Right.
So
times change.
Times have changed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's certainly over $1 million. It would just depend on what someone was willing to pay for it, how famous they felt the car was.
Right.
Race cars with good history bring a little more money than street cars do. But again, there's no way to finger what exactly a car is going to be worth.
So all of these cars in here are race cars, and you actually drive these cars. You don't leave them sitting at all.
No, my two sons and I drive these cars. Matter of fact, in 3 weeks, we've got an event at Willow Springs Raceway.
Okay.
And then we've got the Monterey Historic Races, which I've done for 43 straight years.
Wow.
This number 12 car is one of the 5 FIA cars that was built, and you can sail by the patina on it. The fellow that owned it before me drove it in a lot of races. That car has won a lot of vintage races.
Wow.
My friend Phil Gallant used to own that car, and he had a little health problem, so decided he had to sell it. 5 or 6 years ago I bought it. But that's another particularly good race car.
And just so I know, is the story true? Did you actually buy a Shelby Cobra for $2,000 back in 1971? 71, yes. Wow.
There's one. I bought one for $2,100, and I bought this one for $2,000. Now it didn't look like this.
Wow.
It was a part.
Yeah.
And the front end had been replaced with a fiberglass nose. The fellow that owned it crashed it and put his girlfriend through the windshield, and later married her. He felt so bad.
What do you think is the fastest car you have in here?
This one.
This one, okay.
This would be the fastest. This was a car that was built by Dave Drawley, who worked on all of our Cobras. He was our Cobra guru as far as mechanics and all that sort of thing. So Dave raced a Cobra in the 60s.
Yeah.
And bought this car. This is a Kirkham replica, but it's what they call a hybrid. Now, it doesn't mean it's got electricity with it. It's got a 427 chassis with a 289 body.
Oh.
And a NASCAR motor in it, 358-inch NASCAR motor.
Wow.
And it moves.
Wow.
It is the fastest car in here.
How can you spot a replica versus a original?
You can't.
Really?
The only way you can is by the VIN tag.
That's the only way you can spot it?
I've got some Kirkhams that I've done in the other side, you'll see.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you can't tell a real one from the replica.
Wow. That's hard then to tell then. So at auction it'd be tough. Well,
at auctions, they got to tell you the truth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Because there's such a difference in value.
Yeah. So what's number 25 over here then?
That's another really good race car. It's a little bit lower.
Yep.
That's got a lot of horsepower. That is a particularly good race car. It's with no windshield and no mufflers. That's one that's tough to drive on the street.
Yeah.
But it is a particularly good race car.
It's an aluminum body, or?
Yeah, all the original cars are aluminum bodies.
Okay, all of them are aluminum, got it.
Right, fairly thin, so that when you're giving somebody a ride in the car and you tell them to go ahead and get out, you tell them, in this case, don't touch anything blue when you're getting out, because just the process of going like this and getting out of the car, you put a dent in it.
Oh, wow, it's that sensitive, okay.
Oh, they are.
What's the weight of some of these cars, right? Like, I heard like they're like really light, aren't they?
Well, they're light in comparison to today's cars. They're about 2,200 pounds.
Oh, that's very light compared to today's cars. Yeah,
yeah. You put 400 and 500 horsepower with 2,200 pounds.
Oh, rocket.
They're fast.
That's a fast car.
Yeah.
That leads us to the sponsor of today's video, MindCloud. Are you manually entering data from point A to point B or drowning in data chaos? Well, MindCloud is the solution for you by effortlessly integrating your apps, databases, and spreadsheets in seconds. Click the link in the description to learn more. Let's get back to the video.
So where are we headed now, Lynn?
Well, people that walk in the garage from this way and they turn left and see the race cars and they think this is about it. And then I come over to this door and open it up and they still wonder what's in here. And then I turn the lights on and they say, oh my gosh, look at this.
Holy cow. Wow. God, there's a whole nother side. This is incredible. I gotta ask about this car, Lynn. What car do we have here and what makes this one unique?
Well, it's unique in that there are only 5 built and Shelby wasn't known as a drag racer. I mean, all the Cobras were road racers.
This is drag.
But this is a drag car built specifically to go drag racing. A handful of Shelby's employees thought it would be fun to go drag racing. So they built 5 what they call dragon snakes. 2 were team cars and 3 were sold individuals. And this was sold to a fellow named Hans Schmidt up in upper part of New York.
Wow.
And he bought this new, you know, for a guy in 1965 that was 19 or 20 years old to spend $7,000 on a race car is pretty impressive.
Oh,
and this Hans Schmidt was in the arms business and he raced this car successfully. And matter of fact, of all the Dragon Snakes, this was the fastest.
Wow.
And then it fell into private hands, and Shelby bought this car in the early 1980s and was either going to restore it or race it. He asked me if I wanted to race it for him when he restored it.
Yeah.
And I said, Carroll, there's no way. If I were to crash your car, my name's Mud. So he agreed to sell it to me, knowing I was a drag racer, and one of the provisions is that I wouldn't sell it.
Oh, so he gave it to you, but you cannot sell it.
I can't sell it.
Even though I wonder what value this is on.
It's worth some money.
Yeah.
But mainly he didn't want me to sell it while he was alive because he used it for some group pictures when he had his employee reunions. They would take a picture around this car.
Oh, I see. Wow. And so what would something like this be worth? I mean, that's just 1 of 5. That's like so rare.
It is. It is. And you get everybody's opinion is what it's worth. I've been one fellow that was, I don't know what he did. He was a Frenchman that had something to do with fancy clothing.
Okay.
And he was here, and I don't know whether he was showing off to his friends or my friends. He offered me $5 million for it.
$5 million for this.
And I said, no way.
Oh, you turned it down?
Yeah, my stuff isn't for sale. It's for me to enjoy, other people to enjoy. If I started selling things, wait, I don't have anything left to show.
Okay, this one is 1 of 5, but what would you say is like the rarest car that you own?
Well, it depends again from who's looking at it, what is rare.
Yeah.
The light yellow one that we call lovingly
Dirtbag. Mind if we walk over there?
There are some that are a lot nicer than this one. This one spent 20 years under a blue plastic tarp in a guy's backyard.
So he didn't even know what he had?
Well, he did. He bought it in 1969.
Okay.
And bought it new in 69. And in 1975, it quit. And he doesn't remember exactly what quit, but he threw a tarp over it and left it in his backyard. So that's why the paint is so bad, but it's kind of universally bad. And I bought it from him in 1995. And I was going to restore it. I mean, back in 1995, the barn find frenzy just wasn't in yet.
Yeah.
It was just an old beater Cobra.
Right.
So we had it at one of the Cobra days. Matter of fact, one of the first ones. And Shelby was standing next to this car with me, and he said, Lynn, there's all these shiny cars and nobody's looking at them. They're all over looking at this thing. And he said, you should just leave this alone. And I said, you know what? That's good. So I didn't restore it. We made it mechanically. It runs perfectly.
Oh, this drives?
Oh, perfectly.
What, do all of your cars drive?
There isn't the one in here that doesn't drive. Now, what's interesting,
wow.
Everybody thinks of Cobras as noisy, raspy sounding.
Yeah.
This Cobra, mechanically, I made it run, but it's exactly the way it was made. This is the way a Cobra was made.
Wow.
I mean,
oh man,
it starts up.
It's amazing. I mean, this starts incredibly well.
And I've never had the motor out of it. After sitting 20 years, I turned it over by hand. I said, okay, it's not frozen. And the next thing you know, it fired up and ran. I had to replace the fuel system and go through the brakes and that sort of thing. But it drives just beautifully. It's never been apart.
And what would something like this go for? That's just, I mean, in original condition, unrestored. You know, if somebody came to look at it, I mean, obviously they're a collector.
Well, not all the collectors want something this rough, but there's a fella has offered me a lot of money for it. He offered me $3 million, and I don't know whether he was joking or serious, but it's just not for sale.
You just turned him down. Absolutely not.
If I didn't have it, people would come over and say, "Where's Dirtbag?" And I would have to say, "I sold it."
Oh, that's the name, Dirtbag.
You can't. It's like selling one of your kids. You just don't do that.
Dirtbag, that's worth $3 million.
So
incredible.
And it's been in a number of magazines as a survivor.
Yeah.
And part of that, say there are other cars that are just as much a survivor.
Yeah.
But this one is a little rougher than most, and it's gotten more publicity than most. Here's one you might find interesting to look at it.
Yeah.
It just looks like another, it's a Cobra replica, but it just looks
Beautiful.
like another one. It's got pretty paint.
Yeah, very pretty.
But you open the hood, and it's just a little bit different.
What is that?
That is a Tesla battery pack.
Wow.
It's got a Tesla drivetrain in it.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting car. There's a fellow that we know named Bill Cardoso that built it. This is called a Scorpion.
Okay. Yeah, I see the emblem. The picture. Yeah.
And it's just a fun car. It handles well because it's got huge wheels and tires.
Yeah, I see that. These tires are massive.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just it's built to work, and it really does. It's a fun car.
And what horsepower are we looking at with this type of Cobra? It's like a Tesla Cobra mix.
Right, it's 600 horsepower.
Oh, wow.
Now he does another one with 1,000 horsepower, but the front wheels stick out a little bit more, and it's more of a racing looking car. But this car, you drive down the street, it just looks like a Cobra car.
Wow.
I tell people my neighbors went together to buy this for me because it was quiet. They're tired of me waking them up every Saturday morning.
Yeah, you had to get a quieter car so you wouldn't wake them up. That's awesome.
But you'll notice we built it with a Cobra looking dash.
Yeah.
It's got a gear shift. It's got a clutch pedal that doesn't do anything because it doesn't have a transmission.
Right.
But just to walk by it at a car show, it's a Cobra replica.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful car.
Thank you. And it just drives so nice. I would start it for you, but
there's no sound. So Lynn, I know nothing is for sale, but I gotta ask you one question. If somebody came here and offered you $30 million for all your cars, would you even think of selling at that point?
No.
Not even think of it?
No. Let's put it this way. At my current age, I wouldn't. If I were 95 years old, I might.
Right.
But right now, I still enjoy the cars. I can't go drive around a stack of dollar bills. I like to drive these cars, and every car in here gets driven about once every week to 2 weeks.
So you drive every car?
Every car
starts? That's
every car in here will start up.
Wow. Talk to me first, though, about this car, Lynn. I mean, this isn't a Cobra. This is like its own separate model.
Yeah, this is a replica of a Cobra Daytona coupe. They built 6. They were built to go faster than the Roadster. The Roadster was like a brick going through the air.
Okay.
It had about 160 mile an hour top speed.
Right.
And these, my gosh, were close to 200.
Wow.
Or closer to 200. Because they were designed by Pete Brock to be aerodynamic, and that's what won the world championship for them in 1965, is they had the Daytona coupe.
I see. And I know this is a replica, right?
Correct.
How much does a real one go for?
Real Daytona coupes are $25 to $30 million, and there's only 6 of them, and again, none of those are for sale.
Wow.
And there's a couple of guys that actually, one guy in particular races his in the vintage races, but that's Rob Walton of Walmart.
Rob Walton of Walmart owns a Daytona.
Yes, and he is one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Oh, you know the Waltons?
I know him, again, through Cobras. And
Wow.
You'll be at the races, you know, most guys of that stature have an entourage with them, a bodyguard. He rides up on his little motor scooter looking for a part at the racetrack, and he is the friendliest, nicest person you're ever going to want to meet. It's a
multi-billionaire drives a $30 million car. Unbelievable.
And doesn't act like he's that kind of guy.
No, humble, genuinely nice guy.
He's just a nice person, and it's fun.
Unbelievable. Well, Lynn, can we start up the drag race car? Is that all right?
Sure.
I gotta hear this thing, because I've heard rumors this is really loud.
Well, part of it is because it's back in this corner.
Yeah.
I gotta apologize to my mother-in-law back here. She's a pretty good sport. Okay, let's see if it'll start.
Wow. Okay, Lynn. So this is definitely a loud one.
That's 535 horsepower.
Wow. Well, he's right about one thing. Every one of his cars start. Wow. That is incredible.
One of the fun things about this car, most cars when you go to start them, you crank a little bit and people wait for it to start.
Yeah.
But this one, you hit the key and it's running. It just fires right off.
And I bet people jump when they hear this car. I mean, even my cameraman jumped a little bit when you started.
And we've told him what to expect.
Yeah.
But you get a group of people. I had some older women over here the other day.
Yeah.
And I like to watch them when I started. And absolutely, they jump in unison. It's fun to watch.
Amazing. I know your sons raced these two cars here, right? Mm-hmm. Have they ever thought about selling these? I mean, I would think like a son or somebody's kid who owns, you know, this much Shelby Cobras would want to sell them, right?
If you sold them, you wouldn't have them.
Yeah.
Then you don't have Cobras anymore. And part of the fun is the kids will come over on a holiday when they're here, and we'll take 3 cars and drive up Angeles Crest Highway for 20 miles and come back. And we don't go fast up there. The beauty of a Cobra is you have fun at the speed limit.
Yeah.
It's windy, it's noisy, you have a lot of fun. And we'll come back, get 3 more cars and take them up and compare notes, which ones we like the best.
Yeah.
And it's almost as much fun as going to a race and racing them.
Right.
And my kids are 50 years old, but they've raced go-karts and other things, and they realize the importance of not beating up the equipment. So they're very good drivers, and they respect the cars, and we just have a lot of fun with them. And if we sold the cars, you got a pile of money. What are you going to do with that?
So they don't even want the money. They're like, they have good jobs. They're good. They don't need it.
Both kids work. Yeah. Have got good jobs.
Good.
And surprisingly enough, neither kid has any children, so I don't have any grandkids to play with.
Oh no.
Which is sad.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah.
but we have a lot of fun with the cars as a family.
That's awesome. I love that. It's a family affair, right?
It is.